Hello, it's Tamara Hunter, and today is day number 322 of 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. And we have Patrick with us today. Patrick Dickerson is actually someone I met in Chicago not long ago at the Next Impactor. He is also, I heard the other day, someone that frequents the stage as a stand up comedian. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, I got to talk to him because we had already been wanting to connect. And when I heard a little bit more about his story, okay, we've got to get you on the show. So, welcome and I want to say that everybody's going to understand how Patrick is a service hero through our stories. So I usually frame it a little bit more in the beginning. However, I'm going to let it come out as we visit. So again, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Now we met, and I'm actually going to get the picture out here. We met when in Chicago, and you were looking very dapper. Look
Thank
at
you.
you.
No, I try. I try.
Yeah, I know. And I actually captured a few pictures that we're going to have some fun with. Now, let's kind of go from the where we met, and then we're going to go to the past. So we met face to face, though we've been on a lot of live type streams where we both were making comments and we were recognizing each other. And and yet the very first time, which it was the first time that I had met a lot of people that I had been interacting with, was in Chicago, and that was at the Stan Mansion for the Next Impactor.
Yes, yes.
You actually traveled there to be there at the Stan Mansion with you have someone else that has your same name,
Yep.
kind of,
Patrick Dickerson.
and the two of you decided you would meet there together and be of service.
Yeah.
And I thought that that was absolutely incredible. You both were there. You showed up when we all did for practice, and it was like, how can we help? What can we do? Where can we serve? That was the attitude you took from the very beginning. And I really respect that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's tell everybody about, okay, in fact, he just showed up. So
Yeah, Patrick Dickerson.
about you, there's a couple of you, and in fact it was like, okay, Patrick and Patrick. And
Exactly.
and so why don't you tell us a little bit about the story of how you two met, and then how you two decided to go to the Next Impactor.
How me and Pat met was through a college experience, right? So I was in college at WIU, and I had an assignment in my sociology class to find people that's parallel, that's sharing the same dimension and universe as I am with the same name. So I sent out a lot of requests on Facebook and also on other social media platforms. And what happened was Patrick was one of the ones that reached back to me, and we stayed in contact since then. It was originally 8 people that I contact with my same name. 4 of us originally stuck, and over the years, one of us dropped off. So now it's me, Patrick Dickerson, that's in the Midwest, and then it's an older Patrick Dickerson in California that's older than me, and Patrick Dickerson that's in the Carolinas. So that's how it met.
Okay, so and I was scrolling through some of the pictures. I'm still getting to know this platform. They just changed it on me a bit. So, um, you went to and we're
Western
going to talk a
University.
little bit more about this. In fact, I'm going to put that down for right now because I want to cover that a little bit more in depth. So you decided to, the two of you decided to go and be of service
Hmm.
at the Next Impactor. What about it attracted the two of you?
Um, for one, we got into the thing together in Atlanta. So we went to Atlanta to hang out with the same group in PAL, right? And we did service at PAL, and PAL went so well, and was talking to the kids, and motivating people that actually sparked me because I also do the same type of things up here. I actually work in the mental health. So fast forward, going to the impactor, me and Pat decided to go ahead and go. And I was actually invited to Misty's table, Misty Lane. Shout out to Misty Lane, who I appreciate.
Oh
And
yeah.
all the impactors, but Misty was the one who actually got me through the door and invited me to the actual event, and that's how everything happened. And then I learned about everybody else's story through videos that I watched, and then actually seeing everybody in person. It was kind of a big thing to me, and it was like, okay, I see people with different demographic, biological makeup that I am, because actually you're one of the stories too that I heard about the cancer. So that's
Right.
big for me. See different people in other races going through the same type of thing.
And
So
there's Misty Lane, one
Chicago.
of the top five. She came in at number three. She's there as you're looking at the picture, everybody.
Hmm.
She is the one on the right, on the far right. And shout out to Misty Lane. In fact, Misty is really, I mean, she's amazing. And we're going to be speaking actually later today because she is becoming, coming on to my board of advisors for Chemo Buddies for Life because of her day job. She actually is a technician, or she's a trained, she works in nuclear medicine. And the machine that she works with, she works with PET scans, and anybody that's been involved in cancer knows that machine's a very important machine in our world. And she is a trained radiologist with that. So in tech, and so you were invited by Misty Lane
Hmm.
to be at the next Impactor. What did you think of the experience?
I thought the experience was amazing. Me seeing everybody up there and sharing their story, and then the hometown hero thing with the videos, and then actually seeing somebody with a disorder actually get to the top five, that was actually amazing. Seeing all the judges, the way they conducted themselves, and then also I'm a comedian, so I was looking at different things that will help me out my further on along with my career. Far as looking at how the producers of the TV shows was hitting the cues and how they was getting the timing ready for the next part of the show, and hitting different segments at the right
Mhm.
moments. I was also taking that in account as well.
Oh, that's cool to know. That makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
That, how smart is that? That doesn't surprise me because, okay, what was your degree in? Now let's go forward, or let's go backwards, because one thing I noticed when I was doing some research is
Hmm.
that you are fun. Yes, we're going to talk about the comedian thing. Yet, I mean, you're a lot of fun, and you seem to have a really, um, well, let's just go there. I was thinking, education is such an important thing. And it seems as though it's something that's important not only to you, but also to others in your family. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that. And so when you decided to go to school, what did you declare? What is your degree in?
Sociology, and then I minored in anthropology.
Oh my goodness.
Hmm.
What inspired you to make those choices?
Okay, what inspired me to make that choice is because I didn't grow up with my birth mom. My birth mom has a mental health disorder, right? She's diagnosed with schizophrenia. I think it's schizoaffective. So I automatically knew that I wanted to give back in that mental health realm. So I wanted to help and then deal with certain behaviors so I can, better myself. I'm fortunate enough to have a family that do the next man up system. So if one man fall off, the next man comes up and pick up the slack for the next person who wasn't able to. And I'm thankful that my family and my grandmother and my mom today, which is actually my cousin, stepped up for me and my little brother.
Wow. Okay. What an inspiring story. And so the sociology I understand, but did you said anthropology?
Yes. See, anthropology, people get it misconstrued because anthropology, you think study of species, right? Think bones, you think going out there. some people
Yeah,
think it's a
like,
graphic
yeah,
thing, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
anthropology actually have a cultural aspect to it. So it's learning how to be more diverse and learning how to adapt to social norms and different cultures.
Okay, all right.
So I learned about that as well.
So, how did you go from that to being a stand-up comedian?
Um,
Because I mean, I heard about some that went and watched you the other night, and they were like, he's got it going on. He's fun.
See, how I started off being a comedian was I was actually in Houston, Texas, and I ended up landing the dream job. And I was married at the time, and then I ended up getting a divorce. So I had to find myself. And by me going in the process of finding myself, I went out to stand up, spoken word, and everything else. And I found the love for it. Like I was always a comedian, but I found the love for it. And then I talked about my issues. And then I used the therapeutic methods that I use for my clients actually on stage. And it works out for me. I get to heal people and also heal myself in the process. And that's how I keep it going.
I love it. So, okay, so L. Patrick is saying yes that you and Jason both do comedy. Well,
Yeah,
we're gonna have to have both of you on the 24-hour Giving Tuesday telethon in the Healing Through Humor, and I want to talk about that. And we visited about that. That is, like you were saying, when life happens, oftentimes we have choices. We have those choices to feel sorry for ourselves and if you will, pull the blankets over our head and just kind of hide and think maybe I'll run away from it. Maybe it
right,
won't, affect me the way that I think it is, or you can stand up to it and you can, however your coping skills are, you can fight back, you can deal with it square on, and you chose to deal with some of the things that are happening and were happening in your life through humor.
right.
And it sounds like, if I'm hearing you correctly, that is not an uncommon thing because you have had a few things in your life. And were you ever known as a class clown at all?
To my friends, I was known as a class clown, but I was always serious because of who my grandmother was. She was always passionate and serious about education, and she
Uh-huh.
pushed me to keep going. I remember one time. I'm gonna tell a funny story now. One time in eighth grade, I was trying to be that quote unquote class clown. I cut a girl hair, running around the room, and acting like an Indian. My grandmother came through the door and then hit me in my face. I didn't know what happened, so I got down and balled up. Everybody was laughing. I got up and I was like, "Yep, I know not to be a class clown." Because my grandmother just told me right then and there that I don't want to go to jail and I can't take jail.
And you know what? I have the utmost respect for your grandmother. Oh my goodness. I also have stories of my grandfolks and grandparents, and they were very instrumental in my life during a certain time in my life where my mother kind of had some issues, and she wasn't as involved, and I would go and spend time with them and get to know them, and it gave me such an appreciation for who I am and who, and the generations that came before me. And did that have anything to do with, I mean, here you are, you have a grandmother, your grandmother, and you said your aunt
No, my
became,
grandmother and my cousin.
and your cousin
Yeah,
were really the ones that helped to raise you.
right.
And but yet you were not removed and complete from your mother, your biological mother.
Right. My biological mother, she's actually in a mental health facility now, and on holidays and stuff, we actually get her for the holidays. Sometimes, as of late in the later years of her life, she's not trying to get around, but me and my sisters and our core family and her kids, we go see her on her birthdays, and we all have an individual basis on when we go see her. Me and my last sister just saw her. That looks like me. I call her my twin, and we went. We had a good time. We laughed and joked and everything else. So it's still a feeling of togetherness in my family unit.
I want to thank your family for being such a great example to so many, and for you sharing that right now.
Thank you.
Because in truth, mental illness or different types of illnesses, they run. I don't know many people that are not in some way affected by that too, and so many people, they some in many ways they rush, put it under the carpet. They want people not to know. It's like, okay, that's the forbidden subject. And many, back in the day, if someone went away, it was like, oh, we don't talk about that person. That person's not um, um, in a way a part of the family anymore. And I've when I was doing genealogy research, it was amazing to me what kind of institutions and what they were like back in the day. They were not anything we would want to send our families to. They were it was more of a dungeon type of a situation that nowadays, thank goodness, people are becoming a little bit more aware. It's like with chemo buddies for life in our subject, that we're now, doctors are starting to realize that the heart and the soul and the mind and the brain and all of it have something to do with the body.
Yeah.
And it used to be that the doctors of the brain and then the doctors of the body, it seemed like many times they didn't somehow realize there was a connection. And now they're starting to realize it. Would you consider the fact that you have chosen humor to help in your own life, that possibly has helped you with your mother too? Does that help? Do you
Oh,
become kind of like helping her to laugh and
absolutely.
giggle and feel better? Because it's amazing what happens when that serotonin starts to kick in. It feels good.
In mental health, even with my clients, because I work in mental health, we call it engaging to disengage, right? So even if they're having an episode or anything, we engage with a couple of humans after we then built a couple of rapports with a couple of clients, and we disengage them by engaging into them and then pulling out and then dumbing them down so they can relax and calm down and be cool, calm, and collected. See, I'm always known as the calm one out of all my friends, and they always ask me for advice and stuff because I thank God for allowing me to learn certain practices like the goodness of fit in my social work classes, and then learning how society norms work and how to stay hip with the trends. Because if you're going to work in the mental health, you got to know what's the nuances of society if you're going to work with the people, because it's constantly new people coming in with new disorders, and it's constantly new medicine that's getting updated and everything else. And humor is constant, just like that, and everybody can find funny into anything long as you can bring it and present it right. It's about your delivery. It's not about what you say, it's how you say it. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, I do know. I know well enough that I'm a straight person in
Hmm.
my family, because there are others that had that delivery ability, and every time, I mean, if I got a laugh, it was usually just, it was a pity type of laugh, like, oh, she's trying, isn't that cute? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can deliver the straight. And then, like, and then I have a brother and a stepbrother, and they can be very funny. And so we had these little things going on, and it was always like they would deliver it, and then it was like da da da, where
Uh-huh.
if I tried the same thing, it would be, oh, Tamara's trying to be funny.
Yeah, my family, we call it jonesing. So when you're trying to jones on somebody and then they get to talking about you because you made a funny joke, and then we all laugh and share about that dumb moment that we all share. It could be anything
Yeah,
dumb. Like, oh, why did
I
you just say that? And then they'd be talking about you like, yeah, that was dumb. And then my family, we just bond that way.
well, and I think in many ways, now I always, like, I say I'm yucking it up, because I grew up in that kind of an environment, and it was like, okay, I know I am not the, if you will, brunt of the joke. However, I can make myself a bit of that because of the fact that I have no problem being there. I've been there my whole entire life, and it's fun. It's just fun to be laughing, because if you don't take yourself so serious, life is so much easier to get through. I want to I want to bring this back up because I'm going to ask you this, and then I have a couple of questions about what you just shared. But Patrick was ask about the annual block party that you attended the day after. So that would have been August the 31st.
Yeah, that was the block party he was referring to at my uncle's house. I invited Patrick to the block party. We talked about certain things that's gonna surpass in the future for us, and he got to know my family firsthand, and we all had a good time. We had jerk chicken, ribs, hot links,
Mm-hmm.
bratwurst, um, you name it, seafood salad, macaroni and cheese, I believe masticholi, spaghetti, coleslaw. It was a lot of food. It was
It sounds like it, and you know, it's dinner time almost here. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be able to eat well tonight because that makes me hungry.
mhm,
All right, so I have a question. You're talking about the people you work with, if
right.
you will, on your day job. Let's talk about your day job.
Okay.
What is it that you do?
I'm a MHS, which is a mental health specialist, right? So what I do is for 12 hours a day, um, for 5 to 6 days out of the week, I might be on a psych unit, helping them do what they need to do, get ready and start their day. Some people are more cognitive than others, so they're delayed, so I have to go in and intervene. We have a good staff. Staff feel like family there at my job, so we have good CNAs, good nurses, and then me, and then we run groups and everything else for them with the therapists and stuff. So it's uh, it's really a blessing for me to be giving back in this field. So I help them get in the shower, help them eat. Uh, I help them make phone calls if they don't know how to, dial out to call their parents or their family members, we have you, and I just help them as much as I can. We round on them, make sure they're where they're supposed to be at, and then we also, help them out as far as playing games with them sometime, and then also we have them do movies and talk about sports. Just build that rapport with them because I work at a facility to where it's a hospital, so it's a revolving door. We only keep them so many days. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of my clients is a return client, and it's a revolving door. So when they come back, we pick up just where we left off. So they become my family just as much as I become theirs.
I love it. And what are their ages? It sounds like they're
Uh,
younger.
my facility is 18 and up. I work on an adult facility.
Okay, so you are with a
In Houston, when I was doing the same thing, it was adolescents. It was 8 to 18.
18.
Hmm.
Do you ever use your humor? Do you ever do any of your
All the time.
Okay,
Everything.
so I understand that the other night when some of our friends went to watch you, you actually were in two different locations that night.
Right.
You have different types of acts that you do. What I mean, okay, so I'm thinking at work, do they know that you're what? Pat Say Jack? Is
Yeah.
that your name, or what
Pat
is it?
my stage name.
Pat Say
Batman
Jack.
five Batman 220 is actually my whole thing. 220 stands for second to none. It's like a military term because that's my fan base, and I believe my fans are second to none because they're more of a family versus just being my fans. So they're more of a family, and they give me pointers. They tell me what works, what don't work. They interact with me through my inbox. They share my posts and everything else.
Hmm. In fact, here's a picture. I was just loving this one. I mean, okay, so is this like the neon type lights? Did you do that with some kind of a photo?
No, that was actually the first day of college of my senior year. It was my
Ah,
last year, so I wanted to go out with a bang. They had grills that lights up. They had glasses that light up. I had the glow sticks, and I was going with the theme of Damon off of White Chicks. So the man off of White Chicks who was going and dancing. That's the theme I was going off for. And then I had my Beta Phi Pi shirt. I'm in part of a fraternity, and that's what I was doing. Me and my whole frat, we was out there just having fun, having a good time.
And it looks like, I did find a few photos of your, like, your days. So
Hmm.
you actually were in a fraternity.
Yeah, I'm still in the fraternity.
Well, of course, yes.
Yeah.
In
Every
eh,
year about that fraternity that's special to me. The reason I picked that one versus a lot of other fraternities is because they actually do community service work that actually helps out that I actually like. So they do Thanksgiving, giving back with the meals. They do cleaning up the street. They do a lot of other things as well that I'm not gonna take up the time because I can go on and on because I'm passionate about my fraternity just as much as I'm passionate about comedy. But we do a lot in that organization, and we stick together like a family, and that's a real brotherhood to me. To this day, you see the guy in the next to the left, the second one.
right.
He's my best friend. His name is Stat. Um, it's my best friend, one of my best friends. I have two best friends in this world, and he actually got me through my present process, talked to me, helped me out, and then actually after that we just became close as well, and we deal with adversity together and everything else, along with my other bros too. My other bros, we talk and everything else and share ideas, business ideas, community service ideas. What can we do to make our communities better? That's what we talk about.
And you live in the Chicagoland area, correct?
Yes, I'm actually in Chicago right now. I stay
You're
in
okay.
Chicago. I moved back to Chicago from Houston last year. And then I just kept going with my comedy. I started comedy in Houston, Texas, and I'm coming up to my second year anniversary, November 13th, of me being in comedy. And I've been blessed to have a lot of shows that I don't even know how I got them. It's just people see my passion and they was like, "Hey, you want to do the show?" I'm okay, yeah, I can do it. And I go and I perform, and people love me because of the realness and the passion. And I'm no holds bar when it comes to my comedy. I'm a storyteller as well. So what I do is I go to the line and make people think to talk about certain topics. I don't go overboard. I just go to the line.
Go to the line. Is that what you said?
Yeah, to keep people thinking, like controversial subject. Like
Oh,
right
okay.
now, I'm working on a impeachment Trump joke. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
it's just
Right. Okay.
fine and making sure we talking about things to keep society going. Because my thing with comedy is to make sure I'm always passionate about it. I have to have the three E's, which is, you know what I'm saying? You should know because you do the show. I don't want to spill all the beans out, but also education is one of the E's, and I want to educate as well as entertain.
Right. Right. Okay. And so, is it kind of like that show that's out there? I don't even remember the name of it, but it's about the Jewish woman that back in the 50s or 60s, and Mrs. Merkel or something like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, and how she goes out there and practices and practices and practices the same line over and over, and some and until you get that rhythm, and like you said, that whole presentation,
Right.
that those same words can fall on very, very deaf ears, or bomb, or they can be it just
Inspiration.
slightly different presentation. It can totally change the room, correct?
Correct. It can. And for me to acknowledge the fact that I always write, and then I have a lot of material on my phone. So as you was noticing in that same night, we went to two rooms and I did two different styles of comedy. I did two different jokes because I'm really passionate about comedy in general. So I like the dry comedy on top of the raw comedy. You know.
Right, that's what I was hearing. And I was hearing that you were excellent in both,
Hmm.
and Brooke was one of the, she was talking to me about it, Brooke Curran, and she was saying how, yeah, we were at this one, it's a little bit more edgy, adult type comedy, and then one that was much more, like, I don't know if you would say general, or I don't know if you'd say family style, but it was, there two different types of comedy. And she said, you nailed it, both of the different ones. And we were talking about that, and I'm like, wow, that makes total sense, because in with some musicians, if you will. Sometimes they really get into one type of one genre, but then you have those other ones that they go into this one and then they can go into that one, especially if they're like maybe a drummer or a guitar player or something, and they've been trained in or piano or whatever and trained in classical, but then they go into all the other types. And I had never really thought about comedy in that way, and I'm fascinated by it. So what is your favorite, or is it all your favorite?
It's all my favorite because if you want to be a good comedian, and I want to be the best comedian I can be, so I'm not competing with anybody, but I do look up to certain people, and I do have to be a fan first. And to be that fan first, you have to respect the craft in the whole entirety of the craft. So I have to respect the dry comedy as much as I respect Richard Pryor and the raw comedy. So that's just what I do.
Dry versus raw. So dry would be
A real
what I
Pharaoh,
what?
like real Pharaoh, Anchorman.
Okay. Okay. Right.
And that's just something that's general that everybody probably would know that's watching this since we're worldwide. And then a raw comedy would be like a Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy raw.
Okay. What is your goal? I mean, are you looking to stay on the stage? Are you looking to go on to the specials like HBO? Are you looking to get into Saturday Night Live? I mean, what is your ultimate goal?
I have no ultimate goal with comedy. I'm just taking this thing for where it's taking me. My ultimate purpose is to make people laugh and to be great. Now, I would be a fool up here to tell you if those opportunities with movies and everything else come along and I say no to them. I would be a fool to do that because
Right.
I can be on a bigger platform to make people laugh and make people aware of the different topics that I can make them aware about by doing my style of comedy. So
Mhm.
recently, I have landed a movie role. I'm gonna be a comedian in this movie. I can't talk too much about it, but the movie is called Prayer, and
It's
this
called prayer.
Pray,
Pray.
yeah, and this producer named George in Chicago, he's IBM approved, and he got me on, and I'm the comedy person for the movie. That's all I can say right now. We're going through rehearsal and stuff, so when that
Okay.
comes out, I'm definitely going to be pubbing it and definitely going to be pushing that.
I'm excited. That is so dominoes. I'm
Hmm.
thinking of the domino effect. It just takes that one, and then all of a sudden, it just goes out there. And you, how many times a week would you say you're out there performing?
At least once or twice a week. So, in mental health, I work a lot of days. So after work, after the 12 hours, I don't know how I do it.
I don't either.
I just go and I do it. That day, particularly that you probably saw me doing my act, I worked 12 hours. Then I went over into one of my comedian bros, Shake's place, and then I went to Derek, which is another comedian bro here in Chicago, that I went to his place and hit his open mic. So I'm always trying to go to mics. I'm always trying to do new material, and then I write it down on what works and what don't work. And then every month or so, I still work on the material that I know that works. But I'm always trying to write something new to stay current and stay fresh, especially for me because I'm up and coming, and everybody is always looking for what's next. Especially
Right.
this new society on how technology is so fast now. They always want something that's next and what's the next new thing. So I have to stay current.
What does your family think of this?
My family is full supportive of this. It took them by surprise when I started it because I always joke, and it's one thing to joke around your family, but it's another thing when you're on stage. So they was like, "Oh, they didn't even see it coming." And then once they saw me, a couple of family members saw me, and they came out, and they was like, "Oh, you're really good. You need to stay doing this because you're going to make it." And a year later, I'm in a movie, you know, and that's a blessing to me.
Misfit Nation just woke up to the replay of the Bald Avenger. Okay, so people are putting you in the same sentence with Jason Cisneros or the Bald Avenger, and then yourself, Pat Say Jack. Pat Say Jack.
Patman,
Patman.
yeah,
Patman 220,
yeah,
right? 220? How do
yes,
you say it? Patman
Patman
220 or
220.
Patman too. So when they announce you, that's what they
They
announce you
announce
like.
me at Patman, but 220 I add on the emphasis because that represent my fan base as well. Because where
Okay.
when I grow, my fans is gonna grow, and I'm taking my fans with me. It's lonely at the top, and I want to bring everybody with me, so I won't be so lonely when I hit the top.
I love it. The intention has been put out there.
Hmm.
You are going to the top. I have no doubt. I have no doubt. You know it. And so, all right. So, like, even tonight, so when we're talking, do you ever just start sprinkling in some of your jokes, or do you have to be like in a certain kind of a space in your mind? I mean, how does that happen?
When I'm talking, I do think of stuff that's funny. As a comedian, once you learn how to do the art of storytelling and the art of creating a joke, everything seems to be funny, even death. And it's surprisingly funny that you asked that question because recently, one of another family member of mine had passed, and the only thing I could think of was the good times and the funny moments that I had with that person. So that helped me out, you know. So I was able to write a couple of jokes on that as well.
That's so important. In fact, okay, so when and again, I grew up with hilarious things happening
Hmm.
where my brothers they're very funny. And so when I was going through my diagnosis of cancer, I talk about it a lot, is that the way I dealt with mine when I was going through testing, which was what is today? Today is it was a year or it was 5 years ago. Um, yesterday, 5 years ago yesterday, that I started testing to see if I had cancer. And so as I started getting that call and I was starting to test, we were joking. Okay, well, just put me out on the lake, and kind of like, okay, Viking send off, and all that kind of stuff. Because I I was thinking I didn't know if I'd want to, which way I'd want to kind of like if that was my calling and it was all over, which way would I want to be? What kind of a would I want to be buried or would I want to be cremated? Right? No, and it was like, no, just put me out on the lake. Let's do it different. Everything I do is different, so I'm gonna do it different. And then we joked around because my grandson was into the Mickey Mouse Club, and it was like, okay, and then you can have a weenie roast too, because you already got the fire going, and hot dog, hot diggity dog, like Mickey Mouse Club. But that was how we dealt with stuff, and when you were telling me that you started the comedy or going out there when you had your life that kind of went upside down, right? And were you already writing your jokes at the time, or did it all just start at once?
It all just started at once. So what I did was I went to open mic, then I tried it. When I first tried it, I did good. I had a couple of laughs. The next time I tried open mic, I bombed so hard, and then I got with like-minded comedians that taught me how to write jokes. That was down south. So um, that's when I started writing from there. And when I started writing from there and putting stuff together, I got better along my year, tender until now. And I've been able to do so good in the sense to become a natural at it and to be getting paid shows for it now.
So you get paid
Yeah.
if an open mic, that's an open mic, that's not a paid
That's not
situation.
a paid situation. So what happens is sometimes you can record your set and then email a lot of comedy clubs and then send your video out, right? Or sometimes when you do good on an open mic set, people want to book you for a next show or event that they're doing, and that's mostly how I've been getting my shows.
Smart.
Hmm.
That's really smart. So how far away are these, because I'm thinking about this, 12-hour days, 5 to 6 days a week,
Right.
then you go out, and how many hours in the evening are you out there?
Sometimes I don't go to bed until 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But with great sacrifice is great reward, and I believe
Right.
that my passion is what's going to help me pay the bills. I'm not doing it ultimately for the money. but it's just something I'm passionate about. If I can plant one seed and make somebody laugh and never get paid off of it, and I'm just doing the mental health thing that I'm doing and doing comedy like I'm doing now, my life is just stagnant. I would be still happy the way I am now
What an inspiration you are.
because I'm helping people, and God has been blessing me left and right from helping people, regardless of my shortcomings. He's been helping me out. Um, he's just been orchestrating this whole year ordeal, and I've just been accepting the challenge every time it comes. Even when it becomes hard and I choke up, I still see it through into the end, and then I go stronger next time. And each time I get better, and that's just me.
Okay, I'm going to show you a picture. Is this mom and me?
Yeah, that's my cousin who stepped up as my mom. She's actually a therapist in mental health as well, and she's a big part of my life as well as my grandmother. And I thank her for doing what she did because she didn't have to do it. You know, she didn't have to step up the way she did. She didn't have to take in me and my little brother the way she did. And she became that mother figure to help me fill a void that I was searching for my whole life. That I recently realized that this is actually my mother. You know, she actually filled that void for me.
Right there, I really want to point this out to so many people because many of us have been affected by people that have stepped up
Hmm.
in a parental role. And it doesn't always have to be a blood situation. I mean, in your case, it is because it's a family member. However, many times it's not. And it's many people are lucky because they may have the blood relatives and then they may have others that have accepted them and brought them in, and so they may have some, double the love, but not everybody does. And so when someone has brought you in with their heart, talk about that. That is a commitment of it's a soul commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a soul commitment. I believe me and her is tied, and it was supposed to happen like this. I believe life is supposed to happen the way it happens, and you're supposed to live it out and get the cards you're dealt with, learn from them because it's a test that you're learning from, and then you have to overcome adversity, as you will, to keep going. And far as the love I have for her is unconditional, more of than just a relative or a distant cousin. It's more of a mother and son bond between me and her, and it's reciprocated, and it shows. When I was going through what I was going through, before I even started comedy, she was right there by my side as a mother, and considering me and then consoling me and telling me what I should do next and how to get over it and everything else, and helping me out and using her tools and tactics about how she deal with clients and how she do, you know, things with her clients to keep it going because she is a doctor in mental health as well. Not just mental health, she do therapy for a lot of people, family, and I think she do a lot for couples as well. And she's so amazing when it comes to learning your mind and helping you through your battles and fighting through your problems. She's doing that. She has her own practice. She has her own thing, and she still do contract work, but she don't even have to do, but she still does it. Contract work, I know the viewers probably thinking about what is contract work. I'm referring to the social workers who have their LCSW and they go out for different agencies and then they get contracts and then they do notes on clients and type up reports and stuff and send it back to the agency who gave them a contract to do that. And she still do the groundwork no matter where she's at, and she's through and through a true professional and a true humanitarian, and she's a true leader of our family. Once our grandmother died, she stepped up, her and my Uncle Tony, and they just been keeping the family together on holidays and everything else.
I like your I like your mom.
Yeah, she's amazing. You need to meet her.
I do. I like her. I felt that energy when I saw the picture, and it was like, okay, yeah. Tell me about the heart, and then you have the breast cancer, the Susan G. Komen ribbon there.
Hmm.
Mom and Me. What is that about?
She didn't have breast cancer, but it was the breast cancer awareness, and we was talking about how you can do prevention too, stop breast cancer, or make sure you get checked out. She's an advocate
Right.
for that as well, so I always get checkups and stuff like that.
I love it. And, the timing could not be more perfect that we're talking today, because we are going into October, and I really want to encourage everyone that is listening to us right now. If you are a woman and you have not had your mammogram, and you should, I'm going to tell you, you need to. And if you know of anybody that needs to be reminded, tell them, because this is an important subject. Because I am the poster child, and I am very honest about it, that I waited a couple of years longer than I should have. And I was lucky that we found it when we did, and it was the stage that it was. Because if I had waited any longer, we would not be here today. And it's serious, because we are saving lives. The and 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 Chemo Buddies for Life, the platform is here. It doesn't matter what type of treatment you decide to go for. We're not going to judge. Be it traditional, alternative, adjunctive. Just don't do it alone. Well, you can't even make a decision on which treatment you want if you don't find it soon enough,
Right.
because you're not going to get that opportunity to, you know, there is something to waiting too long, and then you don't get the opportunity to that you can have if you find it early enough. So thank you for that. That is so important. And Breast Cancer Awareness Month starts October 1st. And yes, a lot of people are not really thrilled with the pink ribbon. There's a whole thing there. But you know what? That's okay. We're saving lives.
hmm I'm glad
We are
you did.
saving lives,
I
and
really
it's
appreciate that,
important.
because this opportunity wouldn't even presented itself to me if you would never did what you did to make sure yourself was okay.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that moment with me, because, and thank you with you and your mother for going out there, because the statistics are this, is that different different cultures, different geographic areas, different parts of the world have different opinions when it comes to all of this.
Right.
And the reality of it is that cancer does not discriminate. It doesn't. And there are certain associating factors that it can be even a higher percentage of a chance that you may have a problem. And the good news is there's a lot of good news. And so thank you for taking that moment with me. And I want to also say thank you too, because you have stepped up, and I have been putting out the word that we are looking for volunteers for an event that is going to be taking place. It's the second annual. We're going to call it, I think, we're working on the word, the actual name of it, but it's the second annual 24-hour live streaming media event to benefit Chemo Buddies for Life. And we are going to be having fun. We are going to do some comedy. And you've agreed to be a part of that. And so I want to say thank you, and I cannot wait. I
No problem. No
cannot
problem.
wait. And I'm going to also let everybody know that part of what we are going to be doing with the proceeds is we will continue to be building out our community, of which we will be having a comedy club. And it's a digital platform, guys. And so those that are affected by cancer, both the patient and those that love and support them, will be able to participate, because you can be in your jammies and go to the comedy club. How about that? I know, Greta, it is fantastic. Pretty cool, right? So I just want to say thank you for that. And I'm going to encourage more, because we're going to be having our second meeting for volunteers this coming Wednesday. So anybody that thinks they might want to participate, we're looking for all sorts of people. There's no reason that we can find something for everybody to participate. And It's going to be amazing and fun and meaningful. And think of the Jerry Lewis telethon, which we're not having the live part yet, like a big stage, but we will be in the next year or two. Mark my words. This is the second annual, and we're going to do it, yes, in a grander way. We will be going live throughout the world, and then we're having music and comedy and stories and pretty cool stuff talking about how we were making a difference in
Mhm.
cancer. So thank you for that. And you telling your story, it makes that much more sense. Let me ask you this. Have you ever, because I didn't ask you this, but I'm very curious, have you ever in your working in the field that you're working in, your day job, have you ever come across anybody that has also been dealing with disease and possibly cancer?
Yeah. Mental health doesn't just stop there. You also have people that come in with mental health that has cancer and everything else. They have to go to dialysis when they're in my hospital. So it happens. I probably like four people since I've been working at my job now, who I know went down to dialysis to get treatment and radiation. Then they came to the medical floor. Then they also come back. So it just don't stop because you have mental health. It's just
And
challenges they're dealing with. But for me, hopefully, I made them laugh hard enough to ease their pain a little bit.
and that helps. In fact, that's one of the reasons Chemo Buddies for Life is actually doing what we're doing, is because my original buddy, she's really funny. And think of Lucy and Ricky Ricardo, combination of the two. Yes, she was born in Cuba,
Hmm.
and she had the physical comedy of a Lucy, and so then you'd have me, the straight person, and so the two of us would be in the chemotherapy room. We'd have them busting up, so she'd even bring earplugs with us because she thought, well, maybe we'll get in trouble. And the nurses and the doctors, they were like, if you can make them laugh, that's a good thing. You're not going to get in trouble. But she still had them like, okay, if anybody's, not happy with us right now, here you go. You can just, plug your ears. However, they kept encouraging us because they saw how, first of all, not being alone, it raises the frequency to know that you've got someone that understands you, that's there with you, that's got your back, if you will. And then to be laughing through it, what fun is that? We did a lot of that. I mean, quite honestly, that could be one of the reasons that I made it as, through as well as I did.
I know one of the things that I do when it comes to that of the patients that I experience to meet, I treat them like they're regular people. I laugh
Yeah,
and joke with them like they're regular people. They have more respect for me that way, and we laughing and joking about dumb stuff they do, and
yeah,
I laugh about them using their disorders to gain a personal gain. Because just because they have a disorder don't mean that they're not trying to get over either. So I talk
right,
about that as well, and then they be like, "Oh, you called me out on my BS, so
right.
I'm about to, befriend you now because you're treating me like I'm average." And me breaking that barrier gets them on my side, and then once it gets them on my side, then it makes my job that much easier for the rest of the day. And then we laugh and joke, and then the day becomes over, and then I go home, and then I come back the next day and do it all over again.
It's an equalizer.
Yeah.
Comedy and laughter and humor can be a real equalizer.
Hmm.
And I want to say thank you to Greta. And we're you're thinking along the right lines with us, Greta. House parties and all sorts of kind of gatherings on Giving Tuesday, December the 3rd. We it is going, just be thinking of a big block party throughout the world, digital style. I mean, we're we will be able to even link in because we're going to be using this platform that they just changed, and I'm glad they changed it now, and so I have time to play with it, and because there's a lot more functionality, I believe, for it. And so we'll even be able to invite people from some of these different parties to come on with us too, and just think about this. This is a movement that Chemo Buddies for Life, the Chemo Buddies, the Buddies for Life, is a movement that we are taking control. We're taking the control. We're kicking the power of cancer to the curb and saying, that monster's no longer scary. It's like Monsters Inc. It's a big fluffy blue thing that we can hug. And whatever it may be, but we are taking that power and saying no more. Gonna kick it with my size 8 boot or whatever. It's like, okay, it's gone. And so I absolutely love the way you think. And you could have, in so many different ways and so many different times in your life, let's just get real, you could have just said, wow, I can feel sorry for myself. I get the pity party card because look at my life. I was born, my birth mother. Okay, pity party card. I can play the pity party card because of the fact that my life came to a place, a fork in the road that maybe I didn't really want. In your adulthood, we can have those pity party cards that we can say, okay, I'm playing it now. I can feel sorry for myself, and I can go and curl up in a ball, and I can just be kind of sad and depressed and bring others on that party bus with me. And you chose to not do that. You have chosen, and your examples in your life. I just want to say, I know your grandmother has passed, you said,
Mm-hmm.
and then with your mom, the mom that raised you, and that, thank you to those amazing women. I know I said it before, but I am so inspired by your family. So inspired, because look at you now. Look at you, Patrick. You are out there affecting people in the day, and you are affecting people in the night, and you're going to be affecting and helping us to bring humor throughout the world in just a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty exciting, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I just thank my mom and my family for keep pushing, and then another person who I didn't mention that I'm going to mention now is my uncle Tony. He's been that father figure of mine, showing me what not to do as a man, and keep me on the right path as well, not to join gangs like that, and stay away from certain people, and always live my life. And don't ever let nobody tell me I can't do anything. Just keep pushing. So I have to thank those two individuals. Also, my auntie Lynn, she had a big factor. My auntie Mag had a big factor as well. My auntie Betty had a big factor as well. My auntie Eb, my auntie Ruby. It's a lot. The list goes on. I had a strong unit, and we grew up in the church together. Used to go over each other's houses and everything, and they just kept us on the straight and narrow. And I thank God for the two individuals, which is my mom, Dr. Latrice Dickerson, and then my uncle Tony, that goes by DJ Smooth because he actually DJs, and they just kept me afloat. Anytime I felt down or had problems, I can go to them about anything. I can call them right now. If I had a problem on this show and I got frozen up, I can just call one of them and be like, "Hey, what should I do next?" And they'll guide me through. They're kind of like my life gurus in a sense.
It's like that game. They're your lifeline,
Hmm.
or whatever it is. That, like, okay, they're going to be on that number. Okay, call that one because they're going to help me right now. I need that lifeline, and we all need those people in our lives. And in fact, that's part of what the community of Chemo Buddies for Life that we're building is, to be able to have a place, because so many people don't. And aren't you lucky that you do? And and having you come on board with us as a volunteer, there's so many people that are going to be so inspired by your comedy, yes, but by your story too. And
Hmm.
that's what I am so excited about. And maybe we can even tell that a little bit more through some of the videos that we're going to be sharing here at some point. So as we start to close, oh, wait, okay, so L. Patrick, Uncle Tony has inspired me to get mixing board and system. Oh, fun. I think that there's some new stuff that's going to be coming around the corner. I can see the two Patricks, one with music,
Right.
and one with laughter. And we'll have you both on for Chemo Buddies. That works. Okay, so are there any parting words that of wisdom? I mean, you've been sharing nuggets throughout this hour, and I thank you for them. I am so deeply inspired by you and your family. Absolutely, even more than I was, and I already was. What parting nuggets would you like to share with us?
The nuggets I would like to share with everybody is you can't do anything alone. You need a team. Togetherness is key. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Uh, don't listen to the naysayers. Keep pushing, regardless of your shortcomings. Also understand that it is good and it's light on the end of the tunnel, so you need to go and push through it. Um, Also, be thankful and don't forget where you came from. I never forgot where I came from. I'm always hitting up various people throughout my childhood, always showing love, even when it's least expected. One of my childhood friends who I grew up with, he recently lost his mother, and I was there to support him. And just me being up and showing up, that's who my grandmother was, and that shows through me. Like she's still living because she's living through me, so I'm able to
Right,
keep that legacy going. And I'm big on
right.
legacy. If you follow me on Facebook at Patrick Dickerson or follow my comedy, you see that every once in a while I throw some raw stuff out there, but then I throw some hints and some good things out there about relationships, about togetherness, about family values, about mental health, about doing the right things, and that's just who I am. I'm all about trying to do the right things and living right, regardless of my shortcomings. And I thank God that I had a loving grandmother who taught my family, and then I'm thankful for my family who taught me, and we all keeping that tradition going, and we all trying to be successful in every way. And I thank everybody else who I just come into contact with. Like I thank you for sharing your story, and then you winning the Impactor because I'm about to join season 2 of the Impactor, and then I'm doing a movie. I'm thankful for that. The producer didn't even have to pick me, but he picked me to be the comedy spokesperson in that movie, and there's different things that's happening. Thankful for now to do the charity event December 3rd. There's just little things that come up that you have to be thankful for on your path to receive a bigger blessing, and that's just who I am. I'll just be thankful about the little things and don't take anything for granted and just keep pushing.
I love it. Well, I want to say as we close day number 322 of 365 days of awesome, celebrate success through service. I have been deeply, deeply inspired and touched to the core of my soul today by your stories, Patrick,
Thank you.
and by the example that your family has shared. Because to me, family stories are so important. And yes, the generational story that you shared with us, I have a feeling will not just inspire me, but will inspire many. Because there might be someone out there right now that you shared a story about your family, you and your sibling, that there was a moment in time that someone needed to step up, and possibly they didn't have to, but they did. And
Hmm.
because of that, I bet you anything that everybody within that family, your family unit, would say, we don't know how it would have ever been not like this,
Right.
because we were all well served. And that's what service is all about. We often think, oh, okay, I have an opportunity to go serve today. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to go do that. And then you think, okay, I put my service hours in. But really, life gives us an opportunity to serve at all moments in time. And when you take those moments, it's incredible how much that service ends up becoming a gift. And that's where I am right now, feeling as though I was given a gift because of the service of your whole family. And the fact that you are going to be not only serving us today like you have been, that you're going to be joining us for the Giving Tuesday telethon, I am feeling that much more gifted, and that you truly are an inspirational comedian, service hero. Thank you, Patrick.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Tomorrow, I actually am taking the day off, so we will have Service Heroes again on Monday. See you later. Bye.